Yvette, thank you for joining today's live. Welcome to another session. We're going to be talking about green card delays. So the topic is, why is my green card taking so long? Okay, so if you're just seeing me for the first time, again, I'm attorney Ify. I help clients nationwide with their green card applications. I can tell you your legal options and what to do if you're facing delays or just any complications in your case. So make sure you leave a comment, leave a question for me today. And still having trouble with Facebook connecting. That happened last time. I don't know what's going on. I tried to reconnect that today, but let's just take that out. So if you're on the group, it was great. You get to watch me today. And those on YouTube, you can feel free to ask your questions as well. And we can just have this, for later, for other people who aren't here today. But for those of you who are here, I'm going to prioritize your questions. So feel free to ask questions in the comments. I see some in my DMs and in the chats from the previous posts that we have in the group. So I'm going to answer those as well. But I want you to feel free to ask questions live, right? So you can get clarity right away. What we're doing here. Okay, let's try that, see if that will work. Okay, Kyle, lots of you joining in. Wow, welcome. Last Friday, we had a great time talking about self-petitions and what to do if your spouse is not cooperating and helping you with your process, and that was great. Today, we're going to talk about why your green card is taking so long right now. All right, there are several concerns I've been getting from people, and my team, thank you all for being here, has helped me put it together. So let's start with the first question that we have. And from there, I'm going to look in the chats on YouTube and on Facebook to see if there are any live questions coming in. Hello, John on YouTube. Thank you for joining. Make sure you invite your friends, okay? Because all these questions, frequently asked questions, common questions, I'm sure you're gonna learn something from it. I hope y'all can hear me because I just put this stuff over here. I don't think so. Can you hear me on Facebook? OMG. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, because why is it red? Aaliyah, can you hear me? All right, well, I'm going to get into the questions on YouTube. All right, you can hear me on YouTube from the Philippines. Great. Thank you. I think it's more like the Facebook group I'm concerned about, but if y'all can hear me, I'm going to get into the questions here. We have about 30 minutes today to get through these questions. I'll make sure that we have clarity on how to move forward with the application. What was that sound? Let me see here. Okay, cool. All right, so I don't know what this is about then with the mic. But anyways, let's get into the first question that I got. I actually just answered this on Instagram earlier today because I made a post that has been making rounds about immigrants that should not be traveling outside the US right now. So, from that post, someone said, they have a 2-year green card and they traveled outside the US. So, this question was great because, again, these are common questions that I get all the time from people, just with clients, people on Facebook, just everywhere. All right. So, question says, has anyone recently traveled outside the US while on a conditional green card? Right? If you don't already know, conditional green card means a 2-year green card. So they're pretty much asking this question because right now in this administration, right, you can never tell if you're going to be allowed. Or do you hear a track in the background? Somebody on YouTube is saying something about some sound. I'm not sure. Let me see. But yes, if you are in the US right now and you have a temporary green card, right, you might want to be careful before you travel outside the US. Can you still hear that sound? Because I'm not really hearing the sound. Okay, maybe I got it now. But anyways, having a 2-year green card, you should definitely be careful if you want to be able to re-enter the US because you're not guaranteed that you could re-enter, especially if you're divorced from your US citizen spouse that filed the green card on your behalf. Okay. So you might want to be careful right now to travel. But in the comment that I got on Instagram, the person had a 2-year green card, traveled outside the US and came back successfully. So I'm pretty sure that person is probably still married to their spouse, and that's why they're able to come back. All right. So if you're watching right now and you ask this question or you've been wondering about this, just know that with a 2-year green card, you can travel outside the US, but you should just be careful. Just make sure that you're able to come back in. Okay. You're welcome. All right. How do you say your name or skate? I know that it's probably a nickname, but I've been trying to pronounce it. But thank you for being here. Thank you for joining this live. All right. If you're seeing me for the first time, I'm immigration attorney Ify. I help clients nationwide to file their green card application through family and some other humanitarian options if family does not work. Okay, so feel free to give me a call or text if you have questions or you need to talk one-on-one. All right, this is a group setting, right? So some questions may be too private to talk about. So I'm happy to talk to you one-on-one outside of this. Okay. I think I'm getting a question from the Facebook group. Is this from Osami? Thank you for your question, Osami. I'm going to get to that next, since you're here watching. And Obodo Echi Ijoma, thank you for being here. I see you all the time supporting our content in the Facebook group. Thank you for being here. Make sure you invite your friends. Just share this link with everyone that you talk to or in the comments if you're in there. All right. Okay, so Osmani, your question is about the travel ban. So let me read what it says. While Afghans being in the travel ban and the immigration case is on pause, can they be eligible to apply for citizenship? Okay, or is it better to wait? All right, I just kind of rephrased that for you, Osmani, but essentially this question is about the travel restrictions right now on countries and whether you could still get your citizenship while there's that restriction, right? I've had several consultations about that lately because you know that the best and final status that any immigrant can have is U.S. citizenship. Okay, so essentially you need to make sure that you can apply as soon as possible. Okay, so if your country is on a ban list right now, especially if it has to do with security risks, right, you would most likely face some challenges and delays with your citizenship application for sure. All right. So Osmani, if you are thinking of applying for your citizenship, you might want to definitely consult with an attorney. All right, because you need to know what's best to wait. Because I mean, is your green card about to expire? Can you even renew your green card? Because have you had any criminal like background situation, or what does that look like for you? Definitely talk to an attorney if you're from a high risk country before you apply for your citizenship. All right. So great question. Thank you for being here and asking that. All right. So I'm going to check my DMs because I think I saved like 2 or 3 questions in there to be able to answer it during this live. Because again, in the Facebook group, we're always asking questions and answering questions on a daily basis. So this was one of them. I bet she didn't want to comment, so I'm just gonna keep her name out of the question. But this question is really about why the green card is taking so long, right? Because again, in this administration, you never know if your country is going to be on some type of list or if they're going to change the rules like next week or what's going to happen, why it's taking so long. So this lady in the DMs, I believe she's waited 3 years. So let's see what she had to say here. All right, Mr. Skate on YouTube. I'm going to get to you next, but let me answer this question about why her green card is taking so long, and then we'll go over some potential reasons, right, why it may be for her. And then if you need more details, just let me know and we can address that. All right. So, hi. I saw your post about why immigration case is taking so long. I've submitted my case in 2024, and till now, I haven't heard anything back. Okay. My case is at the Norfolk Service Center in Virginia. I did file an I-601 waiver with my I-485 and I-130. Could that be the reason it's taking so long? They're telling me to wait till 2027. Wow. Certainly a long wait from 2024 to 2027. That's like 3 years. So thank you for this question. This is someone in my Facebook group who just sent me a DM. Thank you for bringing that up so we can talk about it during this live. Okay, so if you're not on the Facebook group, feel free to join. The link is going to be somewhere in the comments, or you can just book a one-on-one call with me so we can answer your questions directly. Okay. So delays when you have a waiver pending with your application, certainly not an uncommon thing because before the USCIS can actually approve your application, they actually have to approve the waiver first. So she mentioned in her question that the waiver was because of a vaccine, a religious reason against vaccine. So it's a vaccine waiver. Great. All right. So this makes it a little better because if it was, let's say, because of some type of criminal activity or misrepresentation, perhaps, right, the guarantee of approval will even be less because at that point you really have to prove the hardship, right, that's going to cause your spouse if you get deported. But when it's a vaccine waiver, it's just kind of black and white as it is. As long as you have a religious reason why you should not be taking that vaccine, you can most likely get it waived. I've had several in my practice get approved easily, but yes, it is possible for that to be the reason for the delay because even if you've had your interview or whatever has happened, if they don't approve the waiver, the I-485 will stay pending. So let's focus on, when you apply for the waiver. I'm not sure if you put it in at the same time when you put in everything. So just all that timeline is going to matter. Okay. I hope this helps you understand some reasons for the delay. Okay, so let's get into the question from Mr. Skate on YouTube here. Thank you for joining. Oh, I think that's a big question here. So I'm going to try my best to read through it and let's see what we can do. I had my AOS. For those of you that don't know, AOS means adjustment of status. An I-130 interview on 5/1/2025, so last year. Okay, I didn't get any response yet. Why is it taking so long? The interview was pretty chill, and I just noticed that the agent was concerned that we did not file taxes together. Okay, thank you very much for your question, Mr. Skate. Still not sure how to say your full name here, but yes, this particular type of delay is unique because you already had your interview, right? And the next thing is after 120 days, they're supposed to make a decision. All right. So if you've had your interview and there's a delay, there's certain things that you can do to actually get your case moving again. Because sometimes they could just put like a random label and say security review or whatever. And if you're not in one of those countries on the list, or there's no real reason why you should be under that type of review, they need to make a decision on your case like ASAP. Okay, so since May 2025, that is certainly over 120 days. So you have, a reason right now to contact USCIS and make a service inquiry. All right, that will be your first step if you're facing any type of delay. All right, once you put in the service inquiry, it creates a paper trail that you are checking in on the processing of your case. Because again, once you've had your interview, the officer should be making a decision, telling you what's next within 120 days. Okay, so that's what makes that a little bit different versus the first question I had in my DM just now. She hasn't had an interview yet. So within the normal processing time for a green card is around a year to 2 years. So since 2024 till now, she's really getting into that 2-year mark. So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully the waiver can get approved first, right, or pretty soon, and she can, get the green card. Okay, so great questions, guys. Thank you for participating. Preet, wow, good to see you. I didn't know you were in the Facebook group. Thank you for joining the live. Good to see you. All right, so I have another question here in my DM, and I'm just gonna, you all can't see it right now because it was just so many words, I just didn't type it out. But you can always feel free to join the group again. Like I said, we're answering questions on a daily basis on there. So, and it's private, so you can feel more, just more secure to be able to ask your questions. So, okay, let's see what this person says. This person is on Instagram, Wisdom. Thank you for your question. So, what about an F2 visa holder in the US? Can they visit Nigeria and come back? Okay, this is another travel question. Okay, thank you, Wisdom, for that. Well, if you're on an F2, I guess is what, a dependent of an F1, right? You may have traveling privileges, but honestly, if you just want to be able to finish out your program or stay with your spouse till they finish their program, I think you should probably just avoid traveling right now, because at the end of the day, it is discretionary if they will let you back in. That's a non-immigrant visa status, okay? So, Wisdom, I'm sure you're not watching this right now, but I'm going to make sure you get the link to join the Facebook group because, yeah, definitely don't travel, okay? So that's what I'll say to you right now for that. Let me see. I think I missed another question here on the group. Okay, no, I already answered that one. Laura, thank you very much for that. Okay. So let me see what else I have going on here in my questions, my question bank, because again, lots of you are really engaging and participating, and I'm thankful for that, because without your questions, right, we won't have anything to say today. So I'm glad to be of help. I'm glad that you feel comfortable to share these questions. And, because it is a private group, I'm just going to, leave it anonymous, right? So that's great. But at least those of you on YouTube watching, just seeing me for the first time, you can benefit from the questions or the answers. And then you can make a better decision moving forward with your case. Okay? Okay. I think, that's one of my cats. They always want to be in the live session with us, which is great. Okay. Another question we have here. Is it safe to visit my home country and return if I applied for asylum, but now I have a green card? Ooh. Okay. That one is, pretty straightforward, right? I'm going to say no, it is not safe, simply because at the point of your citizenship, when you're applying, and there's going to be a review on how you got your green card, because up until you become a citizen, again, there's always going to be a review on if you are admissible or still eligible for the green card. So if you apply for asylum from a certain country and then all of a sudden you are basically going back to the country, maybe that means you probably don't qualify for asylum anymore. And then if it depends on the timeline, maybe they can find misrepresentation in getting your green card, or somehow you become ineligible, So there's all of those complications that could come up with people who have their green card through asylum. Okay, so keep that in mind before you make any trip or make any plans. All right, great question though. Thank you for participating. Mac Mass, thanks for joining on the Facebook group. Make sure you invite your friends. If you're just seeing me for the first time, you know by now that I'm an attorney, immigration attorney, that can help you wherever you are. So just reach out to me. Let's get something started for you. Okay. Has anyone recently had a green card interview? That's the next question that I have. And do they still detain people whose I-94 has expired? Okay, this is about visa overstays. Certainly a concern right now because, if you're watching the news, you've been seeing what's going on. People are getting picked up for whatever reason. Sometimes even U.S. citizens that don't look, like whatever they imagine U.S. citizens should look like. Okay, so you definitely want to be careful. If you're going for a green card interview and you had an overstay, there's a chance that you could get picked up, right? Because you're removable based on that overstay, right? But if your green card is based on a marriage and you have qualified U.S. citizen relatives, you could potentially apply for a waiver. So an I-601 waiver could save you and help you avoid deportation, right? Because overstays, working unauthorized, those types of things are considered immigration violations. So if you have that on your record, you could get picked up. We hope that doesn't happen. That hasn't really happened with my clients with the interviews I've attended lately. I am in Charlotte, so the Charlotte field office, I think they're pretty chill, but then again, it's not really about being pretty chill. They would still enforce some of the rules if it does apply to you. So just make sure you have the right information about your case. Make sure you have a waiver prepared if you feel as though you might be found inadmissible. Perhaps you had misrepresented on some previous application before. So you already know that's coming. Once they go through everything, they may or may not detain you. So it is what it is, but just stay prepared and stay aware. That's all you can do right now as an immigrant. Don't go with fear. Just see what happens. Okay. Thanks for that question. So many great questions today, guys. Something is in the air. You all are ready, it seems like, to move forward confidently. And I love to see that. So thanks for these great questions and participating in the group. Make sure you share with your friends again. Kazim, thanks for being here and joining this live today. So I have another question here pulled up. This is about interviews as well, or interviews and delays. Okay, let's go through it together. This person says, I am married to a US citizen and I have 2 interviews, or I've had 2 interviews, but no green card after 3 years. Ooh. My work permit has been approved. What should I do? Okay, thank you for this question from the Facebook group. It's certainly a concern because 3 years, I believe, is outside of the normal processing time. So if you've had 2 interviews and, you weren't really, the agent didn't really say anything specific to you as to what they need to review next, like why you haven't gotten a decision, you certainly need that service inquiry. And if you already did that, because it's been 3 years, the next thing you can do, if your case is taking too long, is a Congress inquiry. Okay. Congress inquiry is going to be specific to your state where you live. You're going to do a little search for any congressman, congresswoman who can potentially advocate for you with the USCIS. Okay, so it's going to become a government to government agency conversation, right? Because 3 years just seems abnormal, like without any request for evidence or just any news. Either they have just put your case under a pile of just do not review cases right now, or your case may be lost, right? This is where some people will go to the very extreme step of suing the government, right? You might be eligible for that at this stage, right? Once your case is delayed at an unreasonable amount of time, you could sue the government for that undue hardship that is causing you and your spouse, right? Because you need the freedom to travel, you need the freedom to start building a life, not just waiting and waiting forever. Like how long, right? They need to say something. So 3 years is insane. But, again, I've been doing this for a minute now, and I've seen that type of delay, unfortunately. When it was COVID, they had an excuse, but right now they just don't. So 2024, I'm assuming you filed maybe 23, 24. You're still waiting to right now. You certainly need to reach out to an attorney who can help you file that writ of mandamus. If you haven't done the first 2 steps, make sure you do that first, because one thing about immigration and filing for any type of relief or getting like an expedited process, perhaps you need evidence, right? You need to show that you've been making efforts to reach out, you've done everything, you submitted everything, there's nothing wrong on your end. So that way they can take action, okay? So, great question again. Glad that I could help you all today answer all these questions. We have one more written out here. I'm just going to answer and we can wrap up today's live because this session is 30 minutes. We're going to be here every Friday just answering questions live. So if you're part of the community, you'll get notified. But if not, I will share this probably in my newsletter. I just want you all to be informed, okay, just so that you're making the best decisions right now. This administration is definitely cracking down on immigration, making it a little bit more challenging for us to go for all the benefits out there. So let's be smart about things. Don't apply for things or make decisions that will just jeopardize your situation, put you in removal proceedings, right? If you're on removal, right, your chances are becoming very slim, right? So don't trigger stuff that you don't need to do. If you just have to wait, just wait, all right? Patience is key. Okay, so this is the last question I have for today from someone in the Facebook group. This question, when I saw it the first time, I just laughed because I was like, bro, you've waited only 30 days. Okay. In this live, just alone, you've seen at least 2 questions with like 3 years of wait. Okay. And this is after interviews too. So 30 days, certainly, still early on in the process. You can still wait for at least 120 days so that if there's no decision at that point, you can then make a service inquiry, like call the USCIS, make the inquiry online, contact your Congress, to say, this is my situation. I need to, I've waited, I've done everything right, and I need to move on. So they'll help you. Okay, so 30 days, certainly nothing to worry about right now. Just keep on doing what you're doing. Make sure you have all your documents together in case you get an RFE, right? If it's going to be a 2-year green card, make sure that you're still building evidence of marriage, because you need to get your 10-year green card and citizenship before you can relax. Okay, so don't relax just because you have a work permit or just because you have your 2-year green card or what have you. All right, still build your evidence. Live your life for sure, make plans and all that, but build your evidence as you go, because it will save you in the long run to increase your chances of getting approved. Again, before I wrap up, I'm attorney Ify. Those of you just seeing me for the first time, I help clients nationwide, right, to apply for their marriage-based green card and help them get settled in the U.S. to live their dreams. As an immigrant myself, I've watched many other immigrants, waste their talents, waste their opportunities because they didn't have the right guidance. So this is why I've created my practice to help you all out there in your journey so you don't make the same mistakes and fall into the same traps that other people before you just didn't, know any better. So now you know. All right. Again, thank you for joining today's session. I will see you next Friday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to get into some more immigration questions. And that's it. Have a good one. And TGIF. Bye.